You know, there once was a time when you just walked up to the ticket booth, you bought your ticket, and you walked into a festival or fair. Not anymore. Stay tuned. We'll show you why.
Welcome to Festival Soup, the podcast for festival, fair, and rodeo professionals. Join your host, Mike Baxter, a certified festival and event executive, as he brings you interviews from industry leaders, expert advice, and the latest updates from the world of fun-filled events. Whether you're working on a startup or managing an established, long-running event, Festival Soup has the ingredients for success.
Welcome to Festival Soup. Today we're going to be talking online ticketing and all other new technologies. My guest is Jessica Bybee-Dziedzec with Saffire over in Austin. So welcome. Glad to see you. It's been a while.
Great to see you too. It's so good to see you. Glad to visit with you.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, we've known each other for quite a while. I've known Saffire for quite a while. So I know when it all started, it was a very small staff and you were offering just so many different things, not a whole lot. You had a small group of clients, and today you guys are like an industry leader in all of this. Can you give us a quick summary of where you've been and where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So funny enough, I'm about to celebrate my 17th anniversary with the company. But when I first started here, we weren't Saffire yet. We were still called Right Strategies at the time. And we were really focused on websites, and we were doing custom websites for all kinds of different industries all over the country. And then we ended up getting our first rodeo client. And I don't remember the exact year, but it's probably been about 12 years now that we've been working on the event side of things, maybe even 13 years. But as soon as we got that one rodeo client, we were hooked on the events industry. We really saw an opportunity for trying to take festival and fair and rodeo websites to a new level. And so we started out trying to say, how can we make something that's a repeatable, a tool that can be used across the country, give everybody unique designs, but have some back-end tools that really are specified specifically for the events industry, things like the calendar tools and things like that. So started out in the website space. You're right. We had a very small team at that point in time, probably a team of about 5 or 6 or so. And then, once we decided this was the space we wanted to go into, we brought Cassie on board, and she started selling us all over the country along with Kendra. And it's been great. And then slowly over time, those clients have been amazing to keep us informed with what they would like us to add. And ticketing became pretty clearly a thing that they were hoping we could add on to their website offering. And so we just started growing from there, added ticketing, then we added reserved seating, season tickets, and it just has continued to grow since we've been doing it. And then the team has grown with it.
Proud of what you guys have accomplished. This is great.
Thank you.
So,
yeah,
I know you work with a wide variety of festivals and fairs and rodeos, from small to large. Can you kind of give us a quick idea of, like maybe a small one, a medium, and a large one that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we share some mutual friends at a lot of these different places. So, of course, down in Clute, Texas, we've got our friends at the Great Mosquito Festival. That's probably on the smaller end. Yeah. Medium end, I would say probably, I don't know exact, attendance sizes, but, sort of also close to that same area. We've got Fort Bend County Fair. We do tons of fairs and rodeos all over both Texas and the country. And then going into the larger scale sizes, we just wrapped up doing some work out at Del Mar in California, the San Diego County Fair, Wisconsin State Fair, Minnesota State Fair. So truly some of the largest events in the country as well.
That's great. Well, let's jump right in on the online ticketing. Are you finding that more and more small to large events are embracing the new technologies?
Yeah, I think so. Even at a lot of our small fairs where really we were seeing some hesitancy towards everything from my folks don't want to buy in advance or my folks don't want to use credit cards. I would say everybody is starting to slowly but surely, as they introduce it as an option to their audience, they're seeing that people are really welcoming it with open arms. And so that's often been one of the biggest sort of like pauses when we are talking to a smaller client, for example, that they're just feeling like that my audience isn't going to buy in advance. They just don't do that. And so, but as we see, this has become the norm when you're buying your movie tickets, it's your norm when you're buying almost any kind of event ticket, you know, not just for your live events that are festival and fair based, but, you know, any type of entertainment, sports entertainment, things like that. You're buying those tickets online. And so folks expect the same sort of interaction with your tickets for your festival as they do with any other entertainment they're looking for.
Yeah. Because I know that the pre-sale ticket is something that's really important. And when I was working with the Great Texas Mosquito Festival a couple of years ago, was the first time they really embraced doing these ticket sales in advance online, and they saw a tremendous increase in their ticket sales.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for us, that's always our biggest thing that we're trying to promote for our clients. We're really trying to get their face out there year round and getting people thinking about their events year round. When we're looking at pre-sales and the importance of what it means to an event, we love the idea of you having cash flow throughout the year and not just being dependent on that one singular month. We also know that there's going to be breakage. So when folks buy those tickets, not everybody's going to show up at the door. And so those are tickets that you sold that you wouldn't have sold otherwise if you hadn't have had them online in advance. And lastly, we always are focusing on trying to maximize the money in their pockets when they arrive at the festival. And so if they've bought their tickets 2 months ago, that means the money in their pocket that they're showing up with today gets to be fully spent on the grounds as opposed to some of it going to admission. So spreading out their paychecks, if you will, and really being able to maximize what they're able to spend at your event.
And there's always that factor too, where they've bought their ticket in advance and for whatever reason they don't show.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's always going to happen. It depends. You know, we see the percentage of breakage varying whether or not you're a general admission event or if you're reserve seating. I would say on a general admission low cost ticket, it could be anywhere up from 85% attend and 15% might be breakage. And that's 15% of that revenue that you're getting to keep. Either they forgot about it or plans changed or however that works out. So,
yeah. And is this basically on their website is where this is set up? Or are there people that are doing, event specific places, where they can go in and buy the tickets? How does that work?
So we recommend having it be on your own website. And that's one of the things that sort of sets us apart a little bit from some of our competitors out there. We really promote keeping the customer on your event site because it keeps the cohesive experience for them as they're searching your website. They land on the ticketing page. It's solely your tickets being sold. So you're not competing against any other event tickets being sold in that same space. And so it gives for a really cohesive experience for the customer. They feel comfortable completing that transaction because they know they're dealing with the right entity. I've got especially in the rodeo space, I've got a lot of folks, and I think it's because it's limited seating typically for a lot of those big rodeo shows. A lot of folks where they see a third party market trying to buy up their seats and reselling them in a different platform. And so a lot of them have moved towards saying, if this is not sold through our site, we won't be able to honor it. And those are different things, different tactics we've seen some of our clients trying to utilize to try to prevent the fraud, if you will. And then people trying to basically raise the price on their tickets without the entity getting the actual benefit of it.
Yeah. Because even here in Tomball, Little Tomball, there's a music venue, and you go and you hit the button online on their website, but it sends you to a third party dealer that handles everything, so they don't have to get involved in it. And so you're saying it's better.
We see that too.
Yeah, but is it better to have it directly through the event?
That's our perception. Yeah. I would say my preference would be to say that you're doing it through your own event as opposed to linking to a third party site. Typically the third party sites have tickets from lots of different events And so you could be competing with other entities within your own community. A lot of times I'll tell folks, it's for the most part, there's some new events out there and they really are needing to promote their brand. A lot of times folks will go to that third party system because they want to get visibility on another site where people are already shopping for entertainment tickets. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of our events, most of our fairs and festivals have been around forever. They're not needing their community to find out about them through that type of exposure. It's not like they're looking for their marketing to come from a third-party ticketing site 'cause somebody's just looking for what can I do in the city this week. They're typically already known entities, and so being able to keep that in-house makes it a little bit more comfortable for the customer to purchase those tickets and feel confident about what they're getting.
Yeah. Are you seeing much use of QR codes for purchasing tickets? I know a couple of the events that I worked with recently, they would have the QR code outside of the main gate, so you didn't have to go up to the gate.
It's my favorite tactic. I'm so glad we have the QR codes back as like a tool that people want to use and know how to use. And when they see it, they know exactly how to interact with it, which makes me so happy. So absolutely, we honestly recommend it for every one of our events. I can't imagine a scenario where I wouldn't recommend that you put the QR code to purchase the tickets as many places as you can. So not just outside in the parking lot, although that is one that I do like to see at my events because I want people to be able to if they don't already have their tickets, I'd love for them to be able to buy them as they're walking up. But even around town. So when I think about like the local grocery stores or the local post office, any type of signage, billboarding, print materials that you do, I would love to see QR codes to the ticketing page on those because if somebody is in the moment and they see your advertisement, you're able to capture that right in the moment. And you can even have those go to specific URLs where you can capture where did this come from. So it also can be a great tool for learning what marketing pieces are working for us.
Yeah, one thing that with the Mosquito Festival, I think you convinced them to do this, was using the barcode to scan. And so the lines were cut in half or more.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, you would print your ticket basically at home, bring it in, and then just walk right to the scanner at the gate, and you were done. You were in. So that was a real advantage to using the scanner.
I love that. And honestly, I will always say this too. We like to incentivize people to do the thing we want them to do, right? And so if we're saying we really want to promote those pre-sales, and try to prevent the lines backing up at people trying to purchase a ticket at your gate, the way to incentivize a pre-sale is to give them a fast entry. And so if you can say you've got these dedicated lanes for people getting in who pre-bought, make sure they can get fast entry, then other people start to notice and they're like, well, why are they getting to go straight in? And then they start to realize maybe I should have done that too. And then they'll remember it for next year. So incentivizing the behavior that we want our customers to do is always a benefit too.
That's great. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Ready to elevate your event to the next level? Partner with Certified Festival and Events Executive Mike Baxter and Texas Festival and Tourism Consulting to transform your festival or fair into an unforgettable experience. With a track record of success at renowned events like the Midland County Fair, the Texas Blueberry Festival, the McAllen Holiday Parade, the Lubbock Arts Festival, the Texas Crab Festival, and the Great Texas Mosquito Festival, Mike brings unparalleled expertise to your event planning and execution. From event evaluation and development to strategic marketing, public relations, and award-winning photography, Mike is your go-to consultant for making your event shine. Don't miss out on the opportunity to work with one of the best in the business. Mike Baxter is former chairman and longtime member of the Texas Festivals and Events Association and a member of the Texas Association of Fairs and Events. Call or text Mike Baxter today at 281-222-4775 or email mike@txfestconsultant.com. Let's make your next event a standout success.
We are back. We're talking with Jessica Bybee-Dziedzec from Saffire over in Austin. With all these new forms of ticketing online, technologically. When someone makes a purchase, where does the money go? Does it go into a bank account? Does it go to cash control at the festival? I mean, how does that work?
Great question. Another thing that sort of sets us apart from some of our competitors. And so thank you for asking.
Certainly.
Yeah. In our system, the money goes directly, for the most part, goes directly into our clients' bank accounts. We have a very small percentage of our clients who would prefer, because of either their government entities or how they were set up prior to moving to us, would prefer that money come through us and then we remit a settlement back to them. Mm-hmm. But I would say 98% of our clients, the money goes directly into their bank account. It shows up the same day that that the purchase is made online. So there's no middleman, there's no wait time. They are able to get that money directly, which is really, really helpful for a lot of our folks who, need the cash flow immediately.
Sure.
They're trying to pay their vendors and they're trying to, make sure that they're covering their contracts that they've got with all the people that make the festival or fair run. So
Now, while we're talking payments, how important is it to actually, in your opinion, to reduce cash on site so there's not greenbacks right there?
Yeah. I honestly, this is probably one of the things that has become one of our top priorities in the last 2 years. We have started to move to a kiosk model that allows our clients to have basically a kiosk like you see at any other McDonald's or a grocery store or wherever, where you're able to actually purchase your tickets from a screen, have it run your credit card, and spit out the tickets, and you're able to go on in. For so many reasons, we're looking to reduce cash. And we have some events who have gone completely cashless at their gates, meaning they only accept credit cards or only accept pre-bought tickets that were bought online. The amount of staffing that it can reduce, they no longer have to have people who are taking the money. There's always somebody who needs to secure the money. So there's an extra level of security that comes with cash. There's the controls, the counters of the money and the accountants, the moving of the money. All of these things have a cost associated with them. And by moving to this kiosk model where people are paying with just solely credit cards, or we have a couple of fairs and festivals who will be primarily kiosks, and then they might have one or two windows, so that they're really limiting the amount of cash that they'll take. So you don't think about the added footprint of human resource cash takes to be able to say, I'm going to be able to make sure I'm preventing the theft of a window worker. The potential threat of having somebody, try to steal it. We saw some fairs this past summer get basically robbed, lost a ton of money because they were held up and lost their cash. And so it's just, we have enough of and I would say it started with our larger events. So Erie County Fair and Alameda County Fair are some of our larger scale events, and they've moved to this model. Wisconsin State Fair has moved to a cashless. And it's always very hard the first year. There's going to be pushback. But really by the second year, it's not even really a discussion point. Yeah. And again, as long as you're giving them other ways to access the tickets, giving them the QR codes in the parking lot. We've also seen people put signage where you've got the kiosks. So if you don't want to wait in a kiosk line, you can scan a QR code and buy it from your phone. So been a big, big push for us on that.
Well, new technology can be overwhelming. We all know that. Yeah. So are you seeing any kind of pushback from your smaller events, or are they accepting all these changes and learning to do it, learning to use it, and then coming back and saying, wow, why didn't we do this sooner?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, so it's on us to make it as simple as possible, right? Like, and this, I think, is when I'm talking with our president of our company, he's really, really adamant. And I love that he's got a good vision for what's going to simplify the process for our clients. And so we're just constantly on the lookout for what's going to be the fewest amount of cords you have to plug in, what's going to be the least heavy printer you're going to have to pick up and put in a window. things like that. And as much of it we can make mobile, we do. So we have a ton of festivals that are just general admission. We don't need a seat map or anything like that. So we can just have a phone and a hip printer where they're able to just handheld hold it in their hand, and then it's printing with a Bluetooth printer off of their hip, a little receipt paper. So we use this in parking lots in a ton of different places. Really portable and easy. And I would say that that's the model, especially where our smaller clients feel like, okay, how could I not have done this sooner? Right? Like,
Yeah, I got
this
you.
is so easy. And so much of it is done on just a phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android. And people are already used to interacting with that from all generations, right? Even our youngest to our oldest volunteer is for the most part pretty comfortable holding a phone as long as the type is big enough that they can see it.
Yeah. Because one of the things that I read on your site was about the limited attendance at certain times and things like that. How does that process work?
Yeah. So, that started with COVID when really people were trying to limit the number of attendees who were in a place at a certain time. And so timed entry really started to pick up for us. And for a time right after COVID, we were needing to do timed entry at a lot of different general admission events. Nowadays, it's really more so we see it a lot at, we do some like light shows, especially at the holidays or Christmas, like the Christmas lights, the Halloween pumpkin patches, where they're really trying to spread out when people are arriving and trying to predict what the flow of traffic is going to look like. And so, in that scenario, we're able to set up a calendar where people are able to select the date that they're going to come, select the time that they're going to come. And then it's up to the event staff. They can either say, I want to hold them exactly to that time. And then they're able to set the redemption rules to say this ticket's only good during that window that we say it is. Or they can set a redemption rule that says, I'm really okay if they show up at any time in that day. That's up to the event to kind of make the call on how strict they want to be with those timed entries. But, it's mostly done through the redemption tooling and saying, when can somebody show up with this ticket?
Yeah. But the length of time they stay there, how do they control that?
So a lot of it is just flow of traffic. So for something like those Christmas lights, they're going through a process of seeing the lights, and there's not a lot to stick around for once you've seen them, kind of deal.
Gotcha.
And I think they're just planning to not have, if they were to have some overlap, they're not going to be maxed out on their capacity.
Sure.
Yeah. But for the most part, I wouldn't say there's a ton of people checking the exits. It's, most people have enough flexibility to say we can support who all's here. I do have one fair in Florida who is checking the exits, and they do have to give a report to their fire marshal at any given point in time how many people are actually on the grounds. And for that scenario, it means that they do have to have someone posted up at an exit or all of the exits. And they're not scanning anybody. They're just counting people as they go out, and they can put the exits in as a typed entry thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, discounts are so special. They're so important.
So special.
Yes.
They are. Yeah.
So coupons and promo codes have been around forever in one form or another. Newspapers, magazines, in the mail. But nowadays, they're electronic. Can you explain that process and how it's going from print to the electronic versions? Yeah,
I mean, I think print will always still have a place, especially in the local community events. I think there will always be the community advertisements. Personally, for me, when I see the biggest spike in sales for any of my clients, it is on the days we send an email, and we talk a little bit about the different generations, and millennials maybe don't use, or Gen Zs maybe don't use email as much as Gen X and boomers. But for promotions, they all have an email address where they can receive their discount codes, right? And so it's a known form of communication with your known audience. It's a list of people that you own. So you're marketing already directly to people who have interacted with you in some way or shape or form because you've collected their email address. So I'm always a big proponent of trying to build your email list and finding different ways to build that email. list that you're able to advertise to in that way. Because immediately when we send an email out that talks about a promo or a discount, it's so immediate, right? They have it on their phone. They've checked the email. They're able to click a button, click to complete the purchase. And then the tickets they're able to save to their phone. And so it all just happens instantaneously, right? You're catching them right when they're thinking about you and they're able to complete the purchase in that moment.
Yeah.
And even more so on the text message marketing side, we have a handful of clients, a pretty small percentage that are doing the SMS advertisement of promos. And that's an even faster response time.
Yeah.
Bigger hit.
And once they're on the grounds, it could be a discount that's good for something in the food court or, whatever else it happens to be. So once you've got them in, you've got them. So,
absolutely. Well, and there's some cool email marketing tools out there that we're looking at even expanding our interaction with because we're excited about how they're utilizing the data. And so some tools where they're able to actually see, okay, this person has purchased, say, the admission ticket, but they didn't purchase the carnival wristband. Mm-hmm. And so we want to do a secondary email to anybody who's bought the admission but hasn't bought the carnival wristband. Mm-hmm. We want to send them the separate advertisement. So a lot of intelligence in these email marketing tools that you're able to really promote additional sales to people who have already spent some money.
Yeah, because
that's also pretty cool.
When you're tracking on grounds where they are through their phone. And as they get
that's pretty cool too.
You get near the carnival and then all of a sudden an email or a message pops up and now you can get a discount there. That's awesome. So,
yeah, okay. That's a little more advanced to be able to track their phones. But I love it. I mean, and honestly, that's the kind of type of technology that we're constantly keeping our eye on because we have seen where you can do some gating of advertisements where it can detect that phone has entered into a perimeter that has certain marketing messaging. Mm-hmm. And then once they leave, they're continuing to get messages as well is another way to utilize that, which is super cool.
That was going to be my next question. What are some of the new innovations that you see coming in the next months, years?
I think that's one. I think an expansion of RFID and how people are utilizing that, because again, that's being able to talk to people while they've got their phones on them. We are honestly spending a lot of our time on fraud mitigation. This was something we heard a ton of in 2023, was that fraud was one of those things across e-commerce as a whole, not just in live events or just in ticketing. The amount of online fraud has gone up pretty significantly. And so we've been working on a ton of tooling to be able to prevent that, whether it's creating blacklists of email addresses that we want to prevent from being able, like if we see a pattern of somebody misusing the platform, we can say we don't want that email address or we don't want that IP address. Or whitelisting. If we know we've got a location like a library where we know that there might be a ton of purchases there, we can say that we can open that up to as many transactions as they want. And so really just trying to keep an eye on how people are abusing the online tools and layering in. There's tons of third-party options of credit card companies that have put in basically tools where they are able to say across all of these millions of transactions that are happening throughout the world, have we seen a pattern with that specific credit card? Do we think that credit card is stolen? Or have we seen a specific pattern with these certain parameters? We can say if it's further than a certain mile radius away from the event, we don't want to sell to them because we know our event is really geared towards a 500-mile radius and no further. And if somebody's buying from a completely different state across the country, that might be a stolen credit card and we might want to block that. So that's the types of stuff we're looking into and really trying to prevent. We had a ton of clients say that they lost some money on chargebacks last year, and we want to make sure that they don't continue to do that. So, yeah.
Is there anything you can think of that maybe we haven't touched on yet? I'm to the end of my list.
Oh, great question. No, I mean, ultimately for me, it's so crazy because you and I have been in this for a long time. And I never knew that I was going to enjoy working in the live event space as much as I have. I never imagined it kind of growing to what it has grown into. And so I'm always just, I would say always open to learning new things, talking to new people, hearing new ideas, keeping an eye on newest trends. And I will just say, one of the things that has been incredibly helpful for Saffire in our time of growing in this industry has been the associations and the connections we've made through those associations. And so if I were to give a shout out, I would say, our friends at Texas Festivals and Events Association and International Festivals and Events Association and the fair side, tourism side, I think it's been awesome to be able to build those networks of people, because we all sort of feed off of each other and energize each other and push each other in cool new ways.
That's how I was going to close this thing. You did good.
Oh,
I was going to invite people to join TFEA and go to tfea.org or the Texas Association of Fairs and Events. And then you and I will be seeing each other at the annual conference in San Antonio coming up in November. So if anybody is watching and they're interested in joining us, go to tfea.org and check it out. So I appreciate you helping us out today, and it was good seeing you. And fun. We will talk real soon. So I appreciate you being here for another episode of Festival Soup. Thanks.
Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all for this episode of Festival Soup. We hope you enjoyed our tasty serving of festival insights and advice. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you the best content in the industry. For more tips, trends, and updates, visit our website at www.festivalsoup.com. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, great ingredients make for a tasty festival soup. See you next week.